Welcome to Business Incubator, where we interview some of the top industry experts to provide you the most relevant strategies for your business and life. I'm Kat Halushka, and today we have Georgee and Patty K talking about sales and marketing in the new world, in the world of crisis and self-isolation. This is the hot topic nowadays, and so I'm super excited to see their point of view and their strategies on what we can do to help our businesses. Georgee and Patty believe that now is perfect time for purpose-driven service businesses to lead the way to a new and better world. This means embracing marketing that is helpful, inspiring, and educational. They believe that people can change the world by changing how they market and sell. So welcome. I'm super excited to interview you ladies.
And we're excited to be here.
Yes. Let's just dive in, because I know this is one of the most asked questions from my audience right now is, how do I market myself? How do I pivot? And how do I sell? And if I should, because sometimes it feels a little dirty if you know what I mean.
I'll let Patty start with the marketing, because she's the marketing end of our duo.
One of the things that we've noticed about right now in the situation that we're in, like with this backdrop of fear and panic and crisis and all of that, is that some of the marketing as usual stuff does feel a little ickier than usual. And I think it's not so much about whether or not we should market, but how we market. And our contention basically is, if you can help people right now, that is a great way to market yourself. Think about your clients and what they need and how you can be helpful to them, and do something that's relevant to them. That's the other piece of it. If you're marketing something that's not relevant to people right now, it's going to be ignored. I'm seeing a lot of like angry emojis on some advertising these days, because it seems a little bit out of place, because it's not business as usual. So in any time that you want to do some marketing, you want to be joining the conversation that's happening in people's heads already. And if that's where their heads are at, feeling a little bit of fear, having trouble with the isolation, feeling locked in with their kids, stressed out, you can address that, and you can, have some empathy to that, and think about the intersection about what they're going through and struggling with, and what you can offer. And in that overlap is where you can be helpful. And you can be helpful, you can be motivational, you can show some leadership. And I know for me, I'm really drawn to the people who are showing some leadership and some inspiration. And it's like, hey, we're all in this together, and it's really tough right now, and we can get through it. And here's some tips that'll help. It's a great time to be generous, because anytime you're, providing information for people, providing help, inspiration, it feels good. It feels good to you, and it lands well with the people that are listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from the heart and the place of service, right? I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if we look at the sales part of that, I kind of define sales as, it's just a conversation with someone to see how can I help them improve their life and improve their business. So it all starts with really being a human. How would I have a human conversation with someone? Like, drop the sales scripts and all those crazy things, and just have a conversation with someone, right? Like, see, how do I get into their world? How do I find out what they're really, really struggling with, and what would really make a difference for them right now? And to remember that there are people who are spending money right now. I think often it's easy to get into that sort of tunnel vision of doom and gloom, and that nobody has any money, everybody's broke. And that's not actually the case. There are people who are spending and do have money. So where do I find those people? What are they struggling with? And let's have a conversation. And for people who are in business right now, and they're kind of like, my services, I'm not sure if they're relevant right now. Maybe I need to do things in a different way. Contact your customers, pick up the phone, actually have a conversation with them, right? Ask them, how are you doing right now? What would make the biggest difference for you right now? And maybe your package looks a little different right now. Maybe the price is a little bit different. Maybe the service starts to shift a little bit. But I think through having these collaborative conversations with people, we can actually find out what it is that they need, and how can I pivot and shift what I do to still make money, so that I can make it through this time as well and be of service and help people. So it's probably, I think the fundamentals haven't really changed. It's just we've magnified what we do now. So if you've always been really great at talking to people and you really care about people, magnify that a little bit, really reach out. It's a perfect time, like I say, to pick up the phone and just say, hey, how are you doing? You're my customer, I get it, but what do you need? How can I help you? And it's amazing the answers that you get back.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring up something that I know come in a lot from my audience, as well as a question, and that's, should we discount the services?
I don't believe, we'll put it this way, I don't think you should discount for the sake of discounting. So let's say that maybe your typical offer is a $3,000 package or a $5,000 package or something like that, right? So maybe you would do a 12-week coaching package for $5,000. So maybe now what you do, you might look at people and talk to them and say, you know what, here's what I can do. What could you manage right now? What's going to work for you? Again, the conversation. Well, right now I'm really struggling with, how do I handle my kids? I'm not sure how to have a sales conversation right now. I don't know how to take my business online. These are my big issues right now. Okay, got it. I can probably help you with that. But let's have the conversation. Normally that would be a $5,000 package. And you're like, I don't have $5,000 right now. I can barely pay my rent. You're like, okay, what can you do? Right now, you know what? I got $200. Okay, you know what? I think in light of what's happening right now, for $200, why don't we do 3 sessions, 4 sessions? Maybe they're only half an hour. Maybe I'm going to send you a questionnaire and get you to fill some stuff out so it's not so much one-on-one time. But I think it's about being really flexible and almost readjusting what you're doing. Because even now, that $5,000 package is still super valuable. It's still worth $5,000. And people might not be able to pay it right now. And that's totally okay. But what can you do to shift and kind of make a collaborative effort without, because sometimes I think people go into panic. Oh my God, people can't pay. Everything's 10%. You only have to pay 10% of my program. And and that shifts us into that lack mentality, the fear, the panic. It's instead of just going, hang on a second. What do you really need right now? And let's work together. Let's create a collaborative thing that's going to work for you and work for me. That's kind of my take on it. And Patty, I'm sure, has some additional thoughts.
My big suggestion would be not dropping the price of the thing that you're already doing. If you're going to offer a lower priced option, make it something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something a little bit different, and make it substantially different from the thing that you do that's paid. One of the things I've noticed a lot of people doing is kind of convening support groups or something like that for free. So there's this, bring together a community, break the isolation. It's a way to have those conversations with potential clients, not charging for it so they can give it away for free. It's valuable and helpful to people to be in that, and it builds up know, like, and trust for the person that's running it. So that could be a nice option, to do something like that for free, but still charge for your actual services. And for some businesses right now, those services are needed more than ever, due to what to the situation we're in. And Georgie was sharing some stats with me this morning about, what were you saying, like 47% of businesses are doing better than ever or something right now?
Yeah, so 47% of entrepreneurs and businesses are still buying stuff. They're actually making good money right now. So maybe it could be shifting who you're selling to, right? Let's say you're a stress coach or a relationship coach, and mainly you're dealing with maybe entrepreneurs or single moms or things like that. Do you think that these executives right now of these big companies who have suddenly had to move all their teams virtual and they're stuck at home with their wives and their kids, you think they're not having a little bit of stress and problems? I'm thinking they might be, right? So maybe it's just shifting, who can I help right now that can pay for my services? So a little bit of creative thinking there.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the marketing and how, like, getting clients, right? So what are some of the opportunities that came up from the situation that's happening in the world that you think people are missing or they should cash in on?
offering things virtually over Zoom. It's what I'm noticing is that people are really embracing Zoom these days, and people that were reluctant to do things online or to meet online are far more open to it now. They're learning how to use it. They're figuring it out, and there's a lot of opportunity. Like when you get creative, a lot of businesses can offer something helpful over Zoom, and in terms of that creativity, a question to ask when you're, converting a service from like in person to doing it on Zoom is, how can I make this even better by doing it remotely than I would by doing it in person? And to start brainstorming those kinds of ideas. But I think that I'm seeing some people who are kind of like, oh, I can't do it in person, so I'm just going to kind of fold up my tent right now. And I'm like, no, you can do this stuff on Zoom. Find a way to support your clients on Zoom. And I'm excited because I am hoping that this is going to make selling online programs and online experiences easier once we're past this.
Exactly. We actually even have a client who is a travel company. So travel company right now, right? And they've found a way to use the internet and Zoom to give people an experience of their trips. So they're actually still marketing right now. They actually had someone call them and say, I want to take your trip to Mexico. Should I book my flight? And they're like, no, don't book now. So, and this is an industry where we're thinking it's dying. It's dead right now. You're screwed. But how can you be creative and actually use online? So they are, giving people the experience of their company, the experience of their trips, and actually selling travel trips right now.
Oh, I love it. And I hear more and more business owners are coming up with more creative ways to offer their services or even brand new services. And one of the examples is not far from here in Calgary. There's a photographer who does a series of portraits.
That's awesome.
Where he just literally drives and he'll stop and take a portrait of people on the porches, like family.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so amazing. And I just had so many conversations about the new ways of marketing and brainstorming sessions where people are coming up with ideas of, okay, well, your coffee shop is closed, but simply go live with a cup of coffee with your brand on it and have conversations on what's happening in your business and ask your people who are watching, what do they want, right?
Exactly.
I think that's one of the key things there, right? Is you have to start asking, you have to start communicating, you have to start showing up. But let's dig a little bit more into the technicalities of marketing, because I know a lot of people are trying to move all of a sudden on social media. And I'm saying all of a sudden because that became such a priority where I see a lot of questions on like from how to use Zoom to how do I start a Facebook page. Do you have some tips for people who are moving specifically online on social media on what can they do to start growing their following and start getting clients from that?
Georgie, this one's yours.
I would go old school, like seriously, I'm super old school. So I think as let's say now you've got your Facebook page and you're moving more online. I'm all for calling your people. Hey, here's how we can stay connected right now. I'm going to send you a link, like my page. Here's what's happening, right? Reaching out through, direct messages and those kinds of things, friending people on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, I've found LinkedIn to be absolutely incredibly amazing right now, right? Connect with people, get people on a Zoom call. Like this has been fantastic for us here recently because I like to talk to people. So for me, when I get, say, a connection on either Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that, I go to their profile, I'm checking it out. I was like, hey, thanks so much for connecting with me. I really loved, because there's usually something I really liked about why I wanted to connect with them. If you're open to it, I'd love to get on a Zoom call and learn more about you because I'm building relationships with people. And literally from that, I've been on like 3 different podcasts. We've had sales calls with people so kind of the exact same thing you would do in real life. You're just now doing it in an online format, right? But it's talking to people. And if you think about it, you can have more Zoom calls in a day than you can have driving back and forth to coffee shops. right? And the cool thing about social media is you can actually go and you can check people out, right? Is this person maybe someone I could do business with? Are they doing business with my ideal clients? How can I partner with them? How can we collaborate together? How can we get in front of more people to share? So I think this environment we're in now actually is creating that space for almost more connection, more collaboration, more ways to help each other. And because we're able to use technology, it almost makes it easier to reach out to people.
Yes.
And so the people that like your pictures and comment on your things, great place to reach out. Hey, I saw you like my picture. Thanks so much. You like my post. What'd you like most about it? Start the conversations with people. Because if you think about it, no matter what environment we're in or situation we're in, the reality, most people, they're struggling with their sales and their marketing is that they're not having enough conversations with the right people.
Yes.
And so social media allows you to have conversations with so many people, but you just have to ask and be a human about it. Not be like, buy my stuff, but more be interested in that other person, get to know them, build a relationship, right? Plant the seed, and then they will grow.
Yes, absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your genius. I know you have a resource that you would like to share.
We do. I'll let Patty tell you about that.
further to Georgie's suggestion about getting on a phone call and getting to know people, what we offer is a free sales and marketing assessment. What it is a nice conversation with me and Georgie, and what we'll do is we'll run through your sales and marketing and see how you're doing, and help you pick out maybe some spots where you can make some improvements to get things flowing a little bit better. So if you'd like to hop on a Zoom call with the two of us, you can go to 10kprogram.com/free.
Awesome. And you can find that link right under this video. So go ahead, book that call. It is phenomenal value. Georgie, Patty, thank you so much for jumping on, sharing your super valuable resources with us. Appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, Kat.